home at Online Trading Academy. Learn about stocks, options, futures, and Forex. Here's a trading tip from one of the instructors.
You see what we've done at the Academy? We've taken this and we've simplified it down to just the basic factors that you need. There's a set of rules, follow them. There's a scoring system. If it scores greater than 7, take the trade. Set the trade up, walk away, and forget it with 3 major components: a stop, an entry, and a target. You don't know what those mean? Come in, we'll teach you those.
Online Trading Academy. Learn the right way to trade stocks and more. Thousands have learned how extra money can be made from home and how risk is limited. See how it works. Reserve a pair of seats at a free half-day class in Broward and Palm Beach. Call now. Online Trading Academy, 561-674-9800. 561-674-9800. That's 561-674-9800.
Now you can get Talk 1470 WNN on 95.3 FM too. Loud and clear. Health and Wealth Radio, WNN.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to the Ask the Expert Show with local celebrity host Steve-O. Sit back each week while Steve-O educates you with live in-studio experts, such as lawyers, doctors, home improvement, and financial experts in their field. Call in and have your questions answered each week at 888-565-1470. Now, here is Steve-O with today's expert in their field.
Hey, we're live on the air. It must be Thursday. It's the K. Bender Rimbaum Show. First Thursday of the month. I got to tell you, we started pushing this show on Facebook, and I could not believe all the people. Not only did they come to Facebook, but we're going to have some questions from Facebook today. So, good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hey, guys.
So, listen, you guys are the top of the top of the top when it comes to community association law.
Who are we?
K. Bender Rimbaum. We start off the show like that. So we've got Michael and we've got Robert. And I got to tell you, what I love doing in this show is I understand everything you're saying. You don't talk over people's heads. You're easy to understand. Tell them everything you do. It's a long list, but I'm going to tell you, if you are a board member, if you are the president of your association, don't try to do this all yourself. And you can give us a call, 888-565-1470. We're also on 95.3 FM.
We are. Do we have one?
Hopefully you're listening.
Right here?
We do. Hey, this is big time now. We've got, I know the only thing we don't have is a name. So, okay, we'll just take this call. Hello? Hello? John?
Yes.
Oh, hey, John.
Hi.
How you doing? Thanks for holding.
My call. I have a question for the experts.
They're going to give you one. I promise they'll give you a great answer.
Hey, John.
Thank you. First of all, the first question is, can the property owners call a special meeting and vote a new board of directors in?
John,
Okay.
did you say condominium or HOA?
This is a HOA.
Okay. For the procedure of calling a meeting by the owners, you look to your bylaws to get an indication of the percentage of owners that may be necessary to call a special meeting for whatever purpose that you're looking to do. What you're talking about is a recall situation where you want to recall the existing board and vote in a new board. And absolutely, the homeowners within a homeowner association do have the power to do that.
Okay, real quick. Our bylaws, our covenants and restrictions have been voided by MRTA.
Ah.
Well, that would be your covenants of your use restrictions, but that would not include your corporate documents, your articles of incorporation and your bylaws. Those do not expire the same way.
Oh, okay. The other question I had is, because our covenants and restrictions have been extinguished, there are homeowners that have stopped paying their monthly maintenance fees.
Mm-hmm.
When the covenants and bylaws and restrictions are refreshed, are those fees that have not been paid collectible?
Well, John, the Marketable Record Title Act and the statute that references it actually does basically indicates that no, it's not a retroactive application.
Technically.
Once the revitalized documents, once the declaration is revitalized, obviously the process is something that you should be working with experienced counsel to make sure it's done 100% properly. It is very procedurally specific. There is the Department of Economic Opportunity, the DEO, in the state of Florida oversees it, and they are very meticulous in making sure these T's are crossed and I's are dotted. We've helped many communities complete the revitalization process, and I'll tell you right now, we're batting 100 or 1,000, I guess would be. That's better, not 100, batting 1,000. But it is important that you do get with counsel who does understand the process, and you work with them. A volunteer committee steps up. If the process is done correctly, then in conjunction with that advice, there are possible ways to address shortfalls in funding. But you need to get the documents revitalized before even reaching that step. And if you're talking about the possibility of a recall because the current board is not moving on the revitalization, I would recommend that you consider that a group who's looking to recall consider a written recall agreement versus a meeting. You're more likely to have success with that, and you could certainly reach out to an experienced attorney to assist a concerned owner group with making sure that's done procedurally correct as well.
Good. Thank you.
Sure, let us know if we can help.
Tell John the name of your firm.
John, if K. Bender Rembaum can assist, let us know.
Thank you. I'm very impressed with you on the phone.
They're amazing.
Does the board actually have the right to spend the association funds now that the covenants and restrictions have been extinguished?
Well, the corporate entity has not been extinguished, and it does provide for authority in the board to continue to operate the corporation and expend corporate funds as it is required to under the documents. Now, the declaration of covenants is no longer in effect under the law, presumably. It may be the case for all the homes. It may be the case for only some of the homes, depending on what the original deeds will show in a complete title search. But notwithstanding all of that, not only did the board have a fiduciary duty under existing Florida law to preserve the documents timely, and if they failed to do that, then to take the necessary steps to revitalize them, which creates causes of action in the homeowners against the corporate entity for such failures. But also, they still have the obligation to operate the corporation in accordance with the documents.
Which might include maintaining certain common property.
And spending the money.
Right. And on the flip side of that, John, you also, as owners in the community, I would imagine most owners would desire the community be maintained and these things function so as to keep your property values up.
And the only way to get everyone to pay is to get your documents back in working order.
Excellent. You answered my question. I really appreciate what you've done. Thank you very much.
Oh, good luck.
Call
Good
back
luck,
anytime, John.
Thank you.
And there's just so much to know.
Well, that's the Marketable Record Title Act, the possible expiration of covenants, the revitalization of those covenants, and the recall of the board, all of those things that John just asked about. They're great subject matter questions. All of them lend themselves to why community associations, which are corporate entities, should have experienced general counsel. Now, I had a small group of owners say to me once, well, we don't think we can afford to have counsel. And my answer to them very honestly was, you can't afford not to have counsel when legal issues come up for your corporation. We're not talking about representing individuals and going out of your pocket individually. We're talking about not-for-profit corporations, which are corporations nonetheless. They are businesses, some small, some very large. You have experts that you have on you might have a management team to help with the business. You might have certainly have an insurance agent to help with your insurance and an accountant to address monthly financials and your end-of-year financial report. You need to have general corporate counsel, someone who knows what they're doing, and you should have a line item in your budget. Our firm does work on a pay-as-you-go approach, so there's no obligation to pay an annual fee just to have us retain our services to assist with the things John was talking about or any of those items.
Well, you know, we don't like to have anybody wait, so let's go to Patty.
Hi, Patty.
Patty?
Hello? Yes.
Hi. You have a question?
Hi. Yes, I have a question. We have a resident, an owner, that says he's going to sue us because he had to pay a lot of money, over $6,000, to get his air conditioning fixed because it was inaccessible. The lines were leaking. The lines are under the slab. And in our bylaws, he said he just wants $3,000 to help cover the cost of what he had to do. He had to put the lines in through the building and in one of his bedrooms. And he's saying if we give him $3,000, then he'll be happy. If not, he's going to sue us. And our bylaws do say quite clearly that it's the unit owner's responsibility to pay for the air conditioning repairs.
Well, while it may
So
be...
my question is, should we just contact our attorney? Or, now he's requesting blueprints of his building.
Well, you certainly
So I
should.
don't know.
You certainly should involve the association attorney whenever anybody is threatening to bring legal action against the association, just to be sure whether or not they have anything to possibly claim against the association. The issues you've described are typically document specific when it comes to the responsibilities between the association and the unit owners. While the unit owner may be responsible for their air conditioning unit, some of the components of this may be within portions of the condominium that are the association's to maintain and operate. It may be that the association is required to undertake the repairs and the unit owner is obligated to pay for it. So those are things that we look for in the documents to see exactly whose responsibility is for what. In older buildings, yes, they did put lines into the slabs, which are inaccessible, and they do wear out and have to be replaced, and then they have to run them somewhere else. But whose responsibility it is definitely something you need counsel to review your documents for a complete answer.
Okay, great. That's all I want to tell the board because that's what I thought. We need to have an attorney. So any kind of contact with this owner, I should just tell him to contact our attorney. I mean, we'll contact our attorney first, but you wouldn't want the owner to be in touch with your attorney. That should go through the board, and until such time as the attorney needs to be in touch with them on your behalf. But also with respect to the demanding for blueprints and things, the owners have a right to ask for access to and inspect the records. They do not have a right to demand you to go find something in the records and provide them copies.
Patty, I would also add that what you could ask the owner to do is to, if you haven't already or he hasn't already, is place his concerns and his requests/demands in writing so that you can then present it to the entire board for consideration.
As well as the attorney.
And, well, you can let him know as well as the attorney. You don't have to let him know as well as the attorney, but this way you get something in writing that you can then present to an experienced association counsel who can then better guide you because they know exactly what the individual is looking for.
Okay. So you don't think I should make a copy of the blueprint for building?
Well, you don't have an obligation to do that. Whether you choose to do that or not, that's going to be up to you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Patty?
Keep listening.
Patty? Make sure we got two bulldogs here. The other one's at home. That's K. Bender Rinbaum. These are HOA, Community Association attorneys. Tell your board.
We have you as our attorney. Andrew Black is wonderful.
He is wonderful.
Well,
good shout out, Andy.
So we'll be calling him.
No,
very good.
He'll be on it for you.
Great.
All right.
Thanks,
you so
Patty.
much.
Okay.
Wow. Well, you got so many. I mean, it's bound to get
We don't have them all.
I know.
And we are talking blind here, so we hopefully, John, when you're looking to recall, it's not our board. Unless they're not doing things right, then we want to know. Because we work for the association.
If you'd like to give us a call here, you've got a question, 888-565-1470. We're going to go to our first break. We're going to come back. Hopefully, we can tell you about Kay Bender Rimbaum.
We'll get to that sometime today.
We'll be right back.
Is your community association looking for prompt, effective, cost-efficient, and understandable legal advice and services? You'll find that and more with Kay Bender Rimbaum, a full-service commercial law firm concentrating on the representation of more than 800 community associations throughout Florida. With offices in Broward and Palm Beach counties, Kay Bender Rimbaum assists clients in all matters of association representation, including but not limited to collection of assessments, contract negotiation, covenant review and amendment, covenant enforcement, and construction defect claims. Under the direction of attorneys Robert Kay, Michael Bender, and Jeffrey Rembaum, Kay Bender Rembaum is dedicated to providing clients with an unparalleled level of personalized and professional service regardless of their size and takes into account their individual needs and financial concerns. For more information, visit www.kbrlegal.com or call 954-928-0680.
Hey, we are back live. This is the first Thursday of the month. That means we've got Kay Bender Rimbaum, Community Association attorneys, some of the finest association attorneys.
Hello.
And they love answering your questions. You can give us a call here at 888-565-1470. We've already got another caller already.
Who?
Susan, you're up.
Hi there.
Hi,
there.
Susan.
I'm calling about proxy voting. And we had a proxy vote and an amendment passed. However, we inspected the proxies and found enough of them that were bad to disqualify them and overturn the vote.
Bad how?
Yeah.
Pardon me?
When you say bad, what do you mean?
What was bad about them?
Oh, well, some of them were like half a page that was faxed in. Others didn't have the parcel address. Missing signatures. They were bad.
Well, without the parcel address, that may not invalidate a proxy if the signature is identifiable.
Some were not signed.
Well, an unsigned
proxies, they're definitely bad.
You wouldn't count
we found bad ones, okay? Right. We went through the law office and got all the proxies from the law office. Okay, so let's say we have enough bad ones to overturn the vote. Okay, so we have them. What do we do? How do we present them? Do we serve it to the board, or what is the legal procedure now?
Well, where have you got? So you inspected the record. You ascertained that you have some of the proxies don't qualify. Therefore, it's the position of, I'll say, the owner group that the amendment actually didn't have enough valid votes to pass.
Absolutely.
I would suggest that you start by sending a certified letter to the board. I guess you're in touch with the attorney, you can certainly CC the association attorney.
And a copy by regular mail.
And certified in regular mail, just letting them know. If you have copies of the ones that were quote unquote bad, let them know in the letter that the following proxies are invalid for these reasons. As a result, the number is below the percentage we need, and the amendment is invalid, should not be recorded. And ask them to respond and get confirmation. Is it a condominium or HOA?
No, HOA.
It's an HOA?
Yeah, so generally what they do is ignore people.
Okay.
If
there have been issues there have been issues, things that are not done legally, and they just ignore it. So pretend they ignore it. Let's say that's the story.
Well, if they ignore it, then you're going to need to hire an attorney to pursue it through legal action, particularly since it's an amendment that affects all of your property. And if it was improperly recorded because it did not have sufficient votes to pass, then that's something that has to be addressed appropriately. And it may require the filing of a lawsuit to complete that if the board continues to stonewall any requests of the homeowners.
And do we have to go through arbitration, or can we directly file a suit?
Arbitration with the division for a homeowner association is only for election disputes, so this would be something that would go to court.
You'd file an act. Well, it starts with pre-suit mediation, I would think, in this case.
Ultimately, yes.
So you'd file you'd make a demand, and if they don't respond to the demand, then if you'd retain counsel who obviously understands the area. I would recommend, and I don't know who's involved. I'm not asking who's involved, but if we were not involved and we were retained, the first thing I would do is call the attorney for the other side and kind of give a heads up as to what's going on, see if we can't resolve it amicably, and let them get a proper vote. But if have they recorded this amendment? Do you know?
I believe so.
Okay, because
my memory serves me right. But
you have 5 years to challenge the validity of it.
We're anticipating being ignored as its standard operating procedure, and I'm getting to the point. And you said something about arbitration, but I want to be clear. Can we?
No, not arbitration. Mediation. It would be pre-suit mediation, and if that doesn't resolve, either they don't agree to go or it doesn't resolve it, then you'd file court action.
We have to do mediation first?
Pre-suit, yes, it's statutory.
Yeah, HOA Act, when you have conflicts, and this would, I believe, come under that you couldn't go directly to court.
We couldn't file a suit and get an injunction?
Well, first you have to attempt to mediate,
which is a short time frame. They have 20 days to respond, and then you look to get the mediation set pretty quick.
And that may be a far less expensive process than filing a lawsuit and getting an injunction or court order to cause the reversal of that.
Okay. Well,
but that's a step-by-step process.
What is the amendment that passed, if I may ask? Or that didn't pass, you said?
It's an insurance amendment requiring everyone to have insurance, and if not, then there's forced insurance, and there's no specific as to anything about the placed insurance.
Right.
As to how much it would cost, how much you would be, say, if you had a $500,000 place,
right? What
kind of insurance they would put on it. It's totally blank slate, wide open, non-specific.
And you're in a home, a detached single-family home community.
Yes.
It's interesting that they would even care what kind of insurance you'd have on your own home. How that would negatively impact. There's a few issues with that anyway. Assuming that even did pass properly, there's still challenges with getting an insurance company to allow an HOA to force place, or even
offer a policy.
Right, that's what I mean. To offer a policy to do that. So another option, of course, is that if in fact, like say you don't want to have to get insurance, they try to enforce it. You can always defend. You can always defend the challenge by indicating the amendment was not passed properly. However, because it's a 5-year statute of limitations, after 5 years, this amendment would become valid if it wasn't previously challenged and shown to be invalid. So for that reason, if you have enough owners who are unhappy about it and feel that it wasn't done properly, then you put a little kitty together and hire someone to help you resolve this.
Another option available to you is if you have enough owners who are like-minded as you, and that is recall the board and have things done more to everyone's satisfaction.
Yes, we agree with you on that. I'll give you some of the ideas just very quickly. The arguments that were used by the board. They said, for instance, what if somebody got bitten by a dog and you didn't have the insurance?
Well, that's general liability. That's not on your home.
Yeah. And they said, oh, what if your house burned down? And
becomes an eyesore?
Yes, exactly.
Well, I get that.
But there are emergency powers embedded in our documents and also embedded in the city that we live in, which are even stronger. Let's say, for instance, the fire department, water all over, and then there's moldy carpeting. They can go in and rip it out, and Anything that is a safety issue or a health issue, they can mitigate and resolve, and then actually bill the owner, and if it's necessary, they put a lien on it. If people, so that's how that's handled without insurance. So it's up to, I feel, it's up to the property owners.
Well, I think that you'd be wise to get as many of your neighbors together and engage the services of an attorney who's knowledgeable in the area.
Yeah. It's just mediation can get very expensive.
No, mediation is far less expensive than litigation.
Far less.
I mean, basically, you're looking at a couple of hours.
Well, yeah, technically, but what they do is they play games with it, and they do cancellations, and then they, this, that, and the other, and you end up running up a few $1,000s in bills, and you've gotten nowhere.
Well, that's always the risk.
Right. Well, pre-suit mediation is a requirement. If they don't cooperate with that, then they fail to meet that obligation. Then you file a lawsuit.
And if they win, they would not be able to recover attorney's fees by failing to participate in the mediation process.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Patty.
Thanks for listening.
If we can help, let us know.
Okay.
Kay Bender Rimbaum.
Okay, thanks.
We got time to talk about some classes?
We do.
Barely. It's almost a commercial break.
And by the way, if you want to call us, you just call 888-565-1470. We're going to be here for the next 35 minutes.
Yes, well...
Tell people what you do.
In addition,
they have an idea.
They have an idea from the phone calls. It's what we do. We rep Kay Bender Rimbaum. We're a community association law firm in practice 25 years plus.
Continuous.
Over 1,000 communities that we represent. We have 2 offices, one in Pompano Beach, one in Palm Beach Gardens. And our client base is primarily HOAs, condominiums, and cooperatives from down in the Keys all the way up to Daytona Beach. And we're heading west to the Naples-Fort Myers area, and we offer a full service. We are 16 attorneys, a lot of staff. I don't even know the exact number.
Support staff?
Well, the support staff. And the point being that when we bring on,
service.
right, we want to make sure that in addition to giving you quality, top-notch legal advice and guidance, that we are hitting the customer service aspect to it. That's one of the biggest complaints I see when I'm asked to take on new clients who have been with prior counsel, that they are just they're not accessible, they're not responding, or if they are responding, when they finally do, it's gibberish, or it's flip-floppy, and then they're nickel and diming. They're getting nickeled and dimed, and it's all of those things that we as a firm look to avoid, and I think that's where we establish long-term relationships in the long haul. We also do offer a lot of free education, both in our offices, in our offices in Palm Beach Gardens and Pompano Beach, and we have our Ask the Attorney forum that's going to kick up next week, which we'll talk about on the second. We'll talk about in the 5:30 hour. So stay with us.
How in the world can somebody try to do this themselves? I'm talking about a board member. Try to do all this themselves to save a little money.
It's not wise.
Go to law school and then study the area of the law, practice in it for a number of years.
Listen, when these board members they're owners in the community, almost typically, and they step up and volunteer, which should be validated, and it's great that people will step up and volunteer to assist their homeowner association, their condominium associations, cooperatives. But when they do step up, now they've taken their owner hat, put it to the side, and they put on a director/officer hat, which enhances their level of their fiduciary duty, because now they have to put their self-interest to the side and act in the best interest of the entire community. And in doing so, they're not looking to hire their own personal lawyer in this case. What they're doing is, hey, we have a corporation, we have a company we're running here, and all companies should have legal advice when we need it. I get one of the simplest areas, in my opinion, is you're going to enter into contracts, $10,000, $40,000, $400,000. Any of those dollar amounts, quite frankly, certainly the higher end, that you would think that you should enter into it without having it looked at by an attorney who's experienced in this area. You're going to drop $50,000 on a contract if it's going to cost you another $1,500 to make sure your lawyer reviews it and dots I's and crosses T's. That's money well worth spreading amongst the corporation.
Absolutely. Listen, we're going to go to break, but let's go to Jessica, because I hate for someone to hold.
Sure. Hi, Jessica.
Hi.
Jessica, are we quick, or do you want to wait till after the break?
Whatever you prefer.
What is your question?
Okay, so we have a resident who has been levied with a fine by our board but lives out of state, and the fine party is in town now and wants an appeal hearing and is willing to waive the 14 days notice. Is that okay?
Well, whenever the fining process is used by the board, they have the discretion to allow for this, although it's not required. The statute provides for a procedure, and the procedure is followed. A certain number of days' notice in advance of a hearing be held, and it's up to the owner to participate in that process, or they have waived their right to challenge it. Now, if the owner then requests the board to reconsider, it's up to the board if they choose to do so and allow the owner that opportunity. So it's entirely a business decision for the board to make.
Right. But that's just, and I think that's important. There's an important distinction to be made there. From the way you pose the question, the owner wants to appeal, meaning that the board had already followed the process of levying a fine, and then this independent fining or grievance committee had a hearing with a 14-day notice provided to the owner and to the individual who was being fined, and they didn't show up at that hearing, presumably. The committee confirmed the fine, thereby imposing the fine against this property. So the owners now come back and said, hey, I want an appeal. There's no automatic right to appeal. And as Robert pointed out, that's the discretion. But had this not gone yet to a fining committee, then it would need a minimum 14-day notice. You couldn't shorten that. I would not shorten that 14-day notice, even if the individual says they'll waive it. There's been recent case that came out where the owner was given 13 days notice and everything, and obviously had everything was substantially in compliance, but the court held that that 14-day notice requirement is not discretionary. It must be met.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Well,
Does that answer your question?
Much. Yes, it did. That was helpful. Thank you.
Thanks, Jessica.
Hey, let's go to break. We come back. Let's talk. You have a lot of classes coming up.
We do.
We'll be right back.
Is your community association looking for prompt, effective, cost-efficient, and understandable legal advice and services? You'll find that and more with K. Bender Rembaum, a full-service commercial law firm concentrating on the representation of more than 800 community associations throughout Florida. With offices in Broward and Palm Beach counties, K. Bender Rembaum assists clients in all matters of association representation, including but not limited to collection of assessments, contract negotiation, covenant review and amendment, covenant enforcement, and construction defect claims. Under the direction of attorneys Robert K., Michael Bender, and Jeffrey Rembaum, K. Bender Rembaum is dedicated to providing clients with an unparalleled level of personalized and professional service regardless of their size, and takes into account their individual needs and financial concerns. For more information, visit www.kbrlegal.com or call 954-928-0680.
Hey, we're back. We usually get to this part towards the beginning of the show. We're like halfway through. So you give a lot back to the community.
We try.
You do.
Well, we do. You're right. We do. And we're happy to do it. And it's not only Robert and I, but there's several attorneys, obviously, and Jeff. But there are attorneys in Jeff's office, Jeff Rembaum, our partner who manages our Palm Beach Gardens office, which is North Military Trail in Palm Beach Gardens. They hold classes up there every Wednesday. And we do classes out of our Pompano office, where there's several of the attorneys in my office. The aforementioned Andrew Black, who got that shout out, and Lisa McGill, and myself and Robert and Emily Gannon, all do classes out of our offices, and we do classes twice a month usually. Usually it's the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month. These are all in the evening. They're all free. Our website, kbrlegal.com, kbrlegal.com is your best place to go for information on all of our classes. The front page, the homepage of the website has a tab there that indicate for education. There's a separate tab, by the way, for resources, where you can read Legal Morsels and Rembaum's Roundup, which is articles of information that we have put together for our clients, of course, and people who are considering possibly coming on as our clients, or just want to get some good education in the area of community association law. So kbrlegal.com has a lot of great resources in addition to giving you more information on the firm. But yes, so we do. And so this month, what are we now? Just started November. So this month in Palm Beach Gardens, the first Wednesday, next Wednesday, the 8th, will be an HOA board certification course. And the following Wednesday, the 15th, will be a condominium board certification course. That's November. Then we get the holidays come up, so that'll be after November. So the November 8th, November 15th, from 6 to 8:30 p.m., 9121 North Military Trail, Palm Beach Gardens. You can reach 561-241-4462. Or like I said, kbrlegal.com, and you can register.
If you're thinking about becoming a board member, you got to get certified.
You do. Well, let me go over the Pompano classes first. We can talk about that. So on Tuesday, November 7th in Pompano, we'll have the Condominium Association board member class. And then on Thursday, November 16th, will be a jumping into the present. It's why why updating your governing documents is critically important. It's a 1-hour class for managers and board members talking about the importance of updating and bringing your governing documents current. There's been a lot of changes in the laws. There's been some very relevant case law. So it's extremely important to get the background there. So as board members, you can decide, okay, why is it worthwhile budgeting to do some document changes or possibly rewriting? We work with many communities whose documents haven't been touched in 20, 30, 40 years, and the laws between the courts and case law, and even just how the community lives now. It's very, very important that they update those documents, and that's something that we are very familiar with and we do a lot of help with. So kbrlegal.com, you can go. It's Tuesday, November 7th in Pompano with board member cert. Wednesday, November 8th, and the 15th in Palm Beach for board member certifications, and then Thursday, the 16th, will be the jumping into the present class.
How would you know about having your documents updated if you don't have legal counsel? How would you even know that?
That is a very good question.
Well, if you well,
so it's important.
Listen, like I said, it still surprises me that I will speak to people, because we do a lot of expos. October was a big expo month. We were at 5 different expos. We taught a lot of education there. We had a table in the trade show hall, and we had a lot of people come by. And it still does catch me by surprise when someone says, we don't have a lawyer. Now, sometimes they're in between, and I get that. But other times they said, we haven't had a need, or we don't know a need. And now all of a sudden they're like, but we've recently heard, or they were at a class and they heard, like they're at one of our classes and they hear, there was a recent case that said if your documents, if there's language in your declaration that says a lender or third-party purchaser who takes title at a foreclosure sale of the banks, and your documents say they don't owe any past due assessments, that you can't collect any past due assessments from that third party, that could cause the association to be out thousands of dollars that all the other owners would have to pick up. And what it takes to correct that is a relatively simple amendment. Now, the drafting of the amendment on our end is pretty simple, which means it's not a very costly process.
Right.
The membership has to go about, the board has to go about getting the membership on board as to why this particular amendment is beneficial to everyone. And usually that's one, if you can get proper explanations out there, which we would assist with, would pass. But it's as simple as that. It's as simple as, now, whether you look to rewrite your documents completely because they're so outdated, and I mean we're probably in the middle of doing a dozen of those right now, having done already probably another 20 or 30 already this year, or you just want to hit a few areas: sale lease approval rights, guest restrictions, rental requirements, enforcement and provisions, things of that nature. Like I said, definitely the assessment section. Make sure you have the right to charge late fees properly. Things of that nature. So it's just a matter of...
And you do collections, too.
Well, of course. Well, yes.
Okay. Everything association.
Right. The collections is the lifeblood of any association. The only way they can function is if everybody is paying their maintenance and paying it on time. And so, fortunately, with the economy the way it is, most communities are in a better financial situation from that perspective. But there are still, listen, even if you have 1 or 2 or 3 who aren't paying, you want to get on them aggressively, and that's something that we do. We're very aggressive. We have an optional program where we advance costs and we defer fees. so that we will carry the cost of collection till the owner pays up or till there's a resolution. And on that website that I mentioned earlier at kbrlegal.com, we have an online service. So 24/7, any client of ours who has collection or foreclosure matters with us, they can plug in a user ID password and pops up their association, list of the owners that are with us, and they can see every day.
Up to the minute.
Up to the minute, they can see what's going on, whether if money's been paid in, they can see what's being held in trust, full disclosure, which I think is very important.
How much it cost.
Right, which is important, and any comments, and then paralegals are always available, no charge, to communicate with if you have any questions about what you're seeing online.
So we do Ask the Experts in Austin and Dallas and Houston. I'm looking through, and I was shocked how many law firms do HOA, criminal, bankruptcy, personal injury. Basically, 90%, 95%. This is all you do.
That is correct.
Right.
So
you go to our website and you don't see a list of other things. We're community association lawyers.
And I'm going to tell you, that's the way to go, not a boutique that does everything. So, we got a phone call.
Let's take a phone call. Then we got to talk about our seminar. The Ask the Attorneys is kicking off, and people need to know.
Which I love. Hi, Faye.
Hi, I have one quick question. I live in a community with condos, and somebody put an we have a problem. He has a little problem there, and he wants to sue. Now, should we wait for his attorney to contact us, or should we get our attorney on the board?
What has happened so far?
Something with some AC unit, with wires that weren't down there properly, and he's saying he's going to sue.
What's he suing for?
Because they say it's our problem that we should be paying for the AC since it costs them more money.
Well, if what I would suggest is obviously you should reach out to your lawyer and give your lawyer a heads up as to what has been said. But what I would say is if this individual is making, I'm going to sue, then what I would recommend that you ask the individual to place his or her concerns in writing, or if they want to have their attorney place them in writing and get them over to you, and then you bring that to your attorney. Because first, certainly if it comes from a lawyer, you want to get your lawyer involved. But anytime there's any owner, any individual who's threatening legal action, it certainly makes sense to have the association's counsel be brought in and brought up to speed from the get-go. And then that counsel should be able to guide you as to whether you need to do anything further as far as responding, and if so, your options, how to respond, so that the board can make a fully informed business decision based on their solid legal advice. That's the role of association counsel.
So we should just wait for his lawyer to actually send papers.
Or invite him to put it in writing so that you can evaluate its claim.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Faye.
I figured that much. I appreciate your time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Bye-bye.
A lot of people suing today.
It's a litigious world we live in.
Yes, it is. So let's get back to
Ask the Attorneys.
2 minutes. Actually, we got
Sure.
about 15, and it's your show. So whatever you want to do.
Well, what we were talking about a lot of the free education that we do out of both our offices in Palm Beach Gardens and Pompano Beach, and I invite everyone again to go to the website at kbrlegal.com, or you can email info at kbrlegal.com and let us know what you're interested in attending, and we can get back to you. Or call 800-974-0680, 800-974-0680. Those of you driving, just go to kbrlegal.com when you're not driving.
Make reservations.
And RSVP because space is limited and they do fill up. But in addition, every year, and this is going to be our 10th year, it's our 10th anniversary year,
consecutive,
that Robert and I go out and about in the Tri-County area, and we do offer a program called Ask the Attorneys. And we do enjoy it very much.
It's incredible.
It's actually a lot of fun, and the reason why it's fun is because the attendees set the agenda. And what that means is we do it in a town hall format style where everyone who comes, and we'll ask them for to offer up a subject matter, offer up some questions. You'll have certain people are ready to jump on it. Sometimes it might take a little bit of pushing, or we'll throw out a topic and then it runs from there. But no two Ask the Attorneys tend to be the same because of that, because you have different people attending, different questions being asked, and then a subject matter comes up, and then people piggyback off of that. We do try to keep the subject matters limited so that it's not like, again, it's not a class, for instance, on emotional support animals.
And it's not something we can give comprehensive legal advice on what your documents may say, because obviously we don't have them.
Right.
But you'll come there.
Well, it's informational purposes, of course. Well,
I should have thought of that.
Right. Like emotional support animals, which remain still, and fair housing issues remain still of relevance to everyone,
Really?
of course. Yeah, in different ways.
It's still going on.
Absolutely. And so those questions come up, and we'll offer some guidance, but we're also not going to spend an hour on the one subject. We try to hit as many subject matters as we can. We get into great questions: official records, insurance-related questions, bank loans, assessments, collections, foreclosures, unauthorized occupants, contract-related issues, management, board meetings, membership meetings, lots of great topics, but it's those individuals who enjoy, they come out. It's obviously all free.
Those 2 hours fly by.
Yeah, they're scheduled. The first one will be next Tuesday, the 14th. From 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. is scheduled, and that's going to be at the Tamarack Community Center, 8601 West Commercial Boulevard in Tamarack. It is, again, the RSVP there would be KBR Legal Seminar at pearsongrant.com. P-I-E-R-S-O-N. pearsongrant.com. Go to kbrlegal.com if that's easy to remember. kbrlegal.com. You'll be able to find where that is. We have, if you're not already on our email list and you'd like to be, email your information to info@kbrlegal.com. Ask to be on the list. We will email you that invitation, and there's a link right on the email invitation that you can RSVP to. And so that first one will be Tuesday, the 14th of November, 6:30 in Tamarack. And then we have one scheduled Wednesday, December 6th at the Emma Lou Olson Civic Center. That's in Pompano. We have a couple of dates that'll be in January, February, and March.
You better get in Deerfield, because that's where we were, and it was packed.
Right. Well, January, February, March, we have dates that are being set up in Palm Beach County and in Broward, and we're looking at some locations, of course, in Miami-Dade as well. And we just got to figure out what works for everyone.
Just finalizing it now.
But we are excited. Next Tuesday is the first one, November 14th, in Tamarack at 6:30. We invite everybody to come on out. Again, I'm beating the dead horse, but kbrlegal.com is where you can get all the information that I'm talking about here. All the classes that we have in Palm Beach Gardens and Pompano Beach, the Ask the Attorney programs that'll be in Tamarack, and then in Pompano Beach this calendar year, and you can RSVP that way as well, and of course learn more about the firm.
Of course, you'll be doing the American Airlines Center in Miami, right?
Absolutely, right after we finish at the BB&T.
Okay, let's go to our last break. Phone number here is 888-565-1470. We can still take a few more questions. We'll be right back.
Is your community association looking for prompt, effective, cost-efficient, and understandable legal advice and services? You'll find that and more with K. Bender Rembaum, a full-service commercial law firm concentrating on the representation of more than 800 community associations throughout Florida. With offices in Broward and Palm Beach counties, K. Bender Rembaum assists clients in all matters of association representation, including but not limited to collection of assessments, contract negotiation, covenant review and amendment, covenant enforcement, and construction defect claims. Under the direction of attorneys Robert K., Michael Bender, and Jeffrey Rembaum, K. Bender Rembaum is dedicated to providing clients with an unparalleled level of personalized and professional service regardless of their size, and takes into account their individual needs and financial concerns. For more information, visit www.kbrlegal.com or call 954-928-0680.
Hey, we are back. Oh, it's been a busy show today. Again, K. Bender Rembaum. It's the first Thursday of the month from 5 to 6 while you're in the car. And if you want, you can actually go back and watch the show today. Yeah, you can go to www.wwnnradio.com, or you can go to your website and watch the show. We're also on 95.3 FM, so you got a lot of different ways, and we got to start mentioning this. You're also on Facebook with us. Very cool. You know, I put a thing out this week on our
You
Facebook.
mentioned. And you got a question or two.
Well, we got 3 questions, and I just remember the lady talking about the proxies. So one of these are about a proxy. It said, I recently received a package from my condominium association about a meeting that is taking place next week where the owners have to vote to allow the board to change our tennis courts. They want to change them into pickleball courts? Never heard of it. They want to change.
Pickleball's big now.
It is?
Pickleball?
Yeah.
What is it?
When's the last time?
Like a smaller version.
So it's real?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
real.
okay. There was a
What's pickleball?
It's an outdoor racket sport.
Yeah, you play with a pickle, you know.
Go on.
There was a proxy included in the package. Can you explain the difference between a proxy and a ballot? I'm not sure what I'm supposed to use to cast my vote. That's from Gigi.
Gigi, a proxy is what you use when you cannot attend the meeting to cast your vote. It's a form that is specified in the statute of information that has to be set forth in it. It probably is a limited proxy, which means...
Notary? You have to have a notary?
No notary on that,
Okay.
no. But it has to have your signature at the bottom to say you're the one signing it. It designates somebody to cast your vote for you if you can't go to the meeting. And it'll have you mark off a spot for whether you're in favor of or opposed to the actual item being presented. In this case, would be a material alteration to their common elements to change the tennis court to something else. A ballot is what's used if you attend the meeting in person and you fill out your ballot while you're there. Now, in elections for directors, the ballot is used in the mail-in format, but that's not part of this question, and we can answer that at a different time. But that's the basic difference between proxies and ballots.
Okay. Now, proxy is, would that be a board member or that
Well,
someone?
you can name anyone you want on your ballot. If you don't fill in the name on your proxy, if you don't fill in the name of the person called the proxy holder, that means it will default to whoever else is listed on the proxy itself to vote in your place. These are
typically the secretary on behalf of the board.
It will be the board, but sometimes they put in the name of a board member to do that. Check your documents. Sometimes there's a limitation on how many proxies that can be held by any one individual. Most of them provide for you can have as many as you can carry, so that's an important thing to be sure of.
I got another one here. It says, I live in a condominium. I have heard that the Sunshine Law will allow me to speak at an upcoming board meeting. How does that work? It's from Gail.
Hi, Gail.
Hey, Gail.
Hope you're listening. Well, first let's clarify.
What is the Sunshine?
Quite often the Sunshine Law is something that you'll hear people talk about. The Sunshine Law is something that applies to municipalities, like your city, county governments. It does not apply to community associations.
Not that specific term.
Okay, the term, the Sunshine Law. But what does apply, and to answer Gail's question, is that whether did she say she's a condominium or an HOA?
Condominium.
Okay, in a condominium, well, it's in both. But in the Condominium Act, the Florida Chapter 718 of the Florida statutes does provide that all owners are allowed to attend board meetings and speak on the items that are posted on the agenda
in advance of the meeting.
So the answer to Gail's question is that yes, members can attend these meetings and then speak on the agenda items. The board is permitted and encouraged to adopt reasonable rules and regulations which govern the meeting conduct, including when they are going to allow for membership participation, as well as how long they'll allow for membership participation, and if people are interrupting, that they're not going to be allowed to stay at the meeting. But as long as owners are given the opportunity to speak on any agenda item that's been posted on the agenda in advance of the meeting, then they are in compliance with the statute.
And the quote-unquote sunshine aspect of the board meetings is that board meetings are supposed to be open to the owners to watch, and board business is supposed to be done in the open.
In the sunshine.
So that's where the sunshine comes from, with limited exceptions. There are things specified in the statute which allow for closed board meetings, which isn't part of this question, but that's the basic answer.
Right. And the reason why we'll always, respectfully correct the use of the term sunshine law is because when its applicability to the municipalities is a little bit more strict, sorry, a lot more strict and procedurally than you would have in an association.
Conceptually, though, it's similar.
But the conceptually it is similar. And again, and we always talk about, and we only encourage, open lines of communication and transparency are paramount to having a smooth operation. There shouldn't be any reason why you're not sharing openly with the membership, unless, as Robert pointed out, there are specific exceptions in all three, 718, the Condominium Act, 719, the Cooperative Act, and 720, the Homeowner Association Act. Attorney-client privilege when you're talking about pending or possible litigation matters, personnel issues, things that you're allowed to have closed meetings for. But other than that, you should have full transparency and communication as often and as much with your membership.
Closed meetings still have to be posted.
I think we got a couple minutes. I'm not sure. But I got a question I've got to ask. Is all this building that's going on, Jim, that's what I thought. All these high rises.
Yes.
New communities coming up.
Yes.
Why should someone have an association?
You mean association attorney?
Attorney. No, actually, no. Why should they start an association?
They don't get dirty
by statute.
Usually.
A condominium
That's
has
up
to
to
have
the
an
owner. Is that right?
association. No, to have a condominium, basically in a condominium, you own the airspace between the four walls that bounds your unit and,
so you have
whatever
nothing to say.
on top of it. So the building is part of a larger thing that has to be operated. So that's where the association comes in.
So that's an automatic.
And homeowner associations are being developed with mandatory associations as well. And a lot of that, associations take over what in northern communities, municipalities may do. So somebody needs to be taking care of these things. And I guess that's it for now.
Nope. That's a good answer.
He gave us 1 minute. Keep going.
But we want to get your...
I know. It's like the Oscars. He's getting played off the stage.
We got people waiting to write your phone number down.
Well, they should write down 800-974-0680. K. Bender Rembaum, Community Association Lawyers. You can reach us through that 800-974-0680 or kbrlegal.com, our website where you can get access to education materials, information on our programs. Reach us at info@kbrlegal.com with any questions, or if you'd like to set up a free consultation. We are happy to help out associations and concerned owner groups.
And we'll be back with you next week, 5 o'clock, with more Ask the Experts.
Happy Thanksgiving.
See you next month.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Experts show. Tune in while some of the top local experts in their field from Broward and Palm Beach counties educate you in the areas of law, health, financial, and home improvement. You can also call our offices at 888-574-6999 to become an expert on our show. The opinions expressed on
Fleur de Santé combines champagne extract with over 150 flowers